Well, my name is Scott Towers, aka Chopper Reeds. I'm the saxophone player for Fat Freddy's Drop.
And I'm Toby Lang, and my Fat Freddy's Drop name is Tony Chang. I play the trumpet.
So you guys are the infamous horn section.
Well, we're 2/3 of it, but probably that means we're only slightly less than half of it because our infamous buddies gone AWOL somewhere in the building.
Yeah, the other guy is, of course, Joe Lindsay, Poe Pepper, the exuberant trombone and tuba
Harmonica,
professional musician.
bass,
Yeah.
backing vocalist,
Yeah.
dancing girl. He does everything. I started playing with the band in 2007.
Feels like only yesterday.
It does.
And I was a founding member of the group back in '99. We had our first gig, and I've been sort of working with the group since then. So, well, we got obviously DJ Fitchy with his MPCs, running the sort of production side of things and applying effects, all kinds of dubs and delays and things like that. Fitchy's, at any time he can start affecting or, producing in some way all the sounds that we're making on stage. That's sort of a lot of what he does. Really, he'll just sort of sculpt everything with his effects over the course of a song, and that's really what gives the music a lot of its shape, as well as the arrangements that we play and the dynamics that we play. Is sort of the production that he's doing. Dobie Blaze, the keyboard player, playing organs, electric piano, and monosynths, polysynths. He's taking care of a lot of the bass lines as well as the keyboard parts, and then we've got Jetlag Johnson on the guitar, rhythm guitar, and the occasional prog rock wind out. And then you got
mind-bending solo.
Yeah, and then you got obviously the horn section, 3-piece horn section, and then you got obviously Joe Dookie singing and also playing the guitar, and he's got his own little production centre there where he likes to kind of disappear into the studio for a few moments at a time and cook up some bizarre sort of techno vocals occasionally. And
What does he use there? Is that the SP4?
he's using a Korg Chaos pad and
right.
Some other looping thing as well.
Yeah.
Originally, we would just play instrumental records before we had the MPC, and then we integrated the MPC and we started, making our own beats. And but also, sometimes we write songs from the other perspective as well. Like Joe Dookie will write a song, write some lyrics with some chords, and we'll kind of build the production that way around. So there's kind of different. It's always developing really the way we write songs.
It was quite interesting for me coming into the band a bit later on once the band had sort of got that set up, and I actually found it really difficult to sort of play with the band to start with because I couldn't quite get my head around, well, there's a set list, but that's not, it's kind of like, well, that's kind of a starting point for the show, and the mood and the energy and everything would sort of move around in that on stage and in the songs, and at various points in various songs something different would happen every time, and it took me a little while to get used to that, and that's just how the band's sort of geared to run itself. I mean, it's the good thing about having an MPC sort of at the heart of the sound is that there's a lot of flexibility there. It's extremely solid, and Moo can sort of reconfigure the songs on the fly, and that's really how the band started with that improvisational approach, and it's just a thread that's gone through everything. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the cool things about the band. It's one of the things that makes it fun to be part of.
Tonight, a special night. This is the last gig of our European tour for 2011. It's my honor and privilege to introduce to you all the way from Aotearoa, New Zealand, Fat Freddy's Drop.
We need to keep pushing that live performance, and I mean one of the big things we've done in the last couple of years is we've really sort of invested in up the ante in the whole production of the show. So we're really lucky to be working with really good sound engineers and production people. We've got an amazing lighting designer who travels with us now, you know, and that's something, you know, a few years ago we were picking up lighting guys, you know, in every town that we went to. So it was, you know, it's sort of like the music was going in a certain direction and the visual aspect was going in sometimes a completely opposite direction. And now we've sort of, you know, we've invested to bring those two things together, and I think that's upped the ante quite significantly, and it pushes us with the music too. You know, you're working with these guys. You know, you need to sort of deliver some really professional stuff.
The influences that we draw on to make the music is always expanding. So techno's in there, you know, and the thing that I always find is that it always ends up being channeled back through an idea of dub, you know, and it's kind of like whatever dub means. It's usually about stripping music down to its basic elements. It doesn't actually have to be reggae. You know, you can dub anything, you know, and you know, it's just an approach to music that you know, embraces simplicity at times, and as well as the intensity that you can do when you layer things up. And it's kind of the way that I think the thing that connects all of us as musicians is an appreciation of that way of constructing music. And even if we're doing something that's actually like a country song, or, you know, something like some ska or something like that, you know, we'll be trying to do our version of an Afrobeat song, but we'll be channeling it through this idea of how you construct a piece of dub music, the bass lines, and drums, and I think that's something that the band will always have, no matter what kind of music we attempt to do. You know,
on one of the new tunes that we're doing tonight, that's a mix of some programmed drums and a session from Dreadford that's only about a week old, or 2 weeks old. You know, it was literally captured the week before we came on tour. So.
Yo, everybody's on fire! Fire! And it goes a little something like this. Hit it!
Yeah, there's definitely another record in the pipeline, but that pipeline could be quite long. could be quite a way away. No, I mean we've been it's been a good last sort of 6 months for us. We've sort of toured a bit, and we've had some time in the studio, and we're sort of building up a new studio in Wellington. That's the sort of place we can go, sort of walk on the door, turn on a few switches, and start playing and start recording straight away. It's been a long time since we've been in that situation. So, I mean, it's been really productive. In fact, possibly too productive, and we've got piles of awesome ideas, which we just need to sort of concentrate and nail, you know. So,
but yeah, you know, it's approaching, you know, in our show at the moment, it's approaching the point where almost 50% of the music is unreleased music, you know. So we're kind of integrating all of our new material into the show and mixing that in with the very old material and the not so old material, but, you know, just sort of. It's very encouraging now that all of these tracks from the next album are finding their way onto the stage, you know, and I think that's just going to continue to.
We'll ask one last question. Any solutions for the planet?
Woo. I think if the whole planet was more like Denmark, then we'd be off to
bikes,
bicycles.
Definitely this trip I've sort of seen the wonder of the bicycle. You know, being in cities where it's geared toward bikes and not cars, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I live in Auckland, which is the complete opposite of that. That's not cool.